September 24th, 2015, Seattle, Washington. A motor coach takes international students from North Seattle College on a sightseeing trip during student orientation. The students talk and get to know each other while visiting the sites of their new home city. Most are around 18 years old, just starting college in a foreign country. The motor coach, traveling southbound, reaches Seattle's historic Aurora Bridge. At the same time, a tourist duck vehicle, an amphibious vehicle that works both on land and in water, travels northbound on the same bridge. The duck, a relic of World War II turned party on wheels, is full of tourists from around the world. Suddenly, the duck's driver loses control of the vehicle's steering and braking. The duck swerves across the bridge's center line, crashing into the motor coach at 35 miles per hour. 5 people are killed, with more than 60 injured. The worst mass transit disaster in Seattle history. And it was clear almost immediately that the duck boat was the reason for the crash. Seattle's Aurora Bridge is a National Historic Site over Lake Washington. As the duck boat approached the bridge, music blaring, the driver told his passengers to look to the right, take in the splendid view of Lake Union and the Cascades. But suddenly, the driver lost all control.
The wheel fell off Duck 6, the vehicle involved in the crash, and that's why it slammed into the bus.
He's driving, and it starts to drift to the right. At this point, he's no longer driving the duck. It drifts to the right, and then it goes across the center line. There is no median barrier on this bridge. Mr. Klaus sees this coming at him. He doesn't have time to do anything. The duck goes up into and through the bus, and it spears it.
The first firefighter had barely arrived when officials declared the crash a mass casualty incident, an event where there are so many victims to treat that first responders are forced to suspend normal operations like routine record keeping. The focus becomes triaging patients, prioritizing care based on severity of injury.
They had to do triage, so they set up a yellow tarp and a red tarp. The yellow tarp was for people that were seriously injured, but the red part was for the critical. The fire response in this case was remarkable. They set up 2 corridors of ambulances so the ambulances could go either direction. They had a triage with the hospitals to find out who could go where.
The fire department started transporting those most severely injured to Harborview Medical Center, a local level 1 trauma center.
The medics, they made decisions of who they thought could live and who they didn't think was going to live.
Family members were separated and sent to different hospitals. Many had no way to reach one another. Some did not know if their family members survived. And, to make things even harder, most were not fluent in English.
So because it knew there was a problem with the axle, Ride the Ducks International proposed an axle repair and sent it out in a service bulletin to Ride the Ducks Seattle. And Ride the Ducks Seattle got the bulletin. What was really on trial in the end was whether it was Ride the Ducks Seattle's fault for not doing that axle repair that Ride the Ducks International had told it to, or if it was Ride the Ducks International's fault for selling a vehicle with a big problem. Fung Dinh was 21 years old at the time of the Ride the Ducks trial in Seattle, 18 at the time of the crash, and her name is the one on the lawsuit. The 43 plaintiffs in this case are officially known as the Dinh Plaintiff Group, in part because Fung Dinh's family were the first to get in touch with Karen Kohler and her team, who went on to lead the group as it grew and grew.
Injuries ranged from severe orthopedic fractures, for example requiring total hip replacements, to the walking wounded. Everyone suffered traumatic emotional injury. On October 1st, the trial began.
At last, the verdict came in, and the blame was placed primarily on Ride the Ducks International, 70%.
The bulk of the blame, more than 2/3 of the liability, placed on Ride the Ducks International.
The remaining 30% was for Ride the Ducks Seattle.
There was one big surprise in this case. The jury did not hold the state of Washington or the city of Seattle liable for not having some sort of a center divider across the middle of the Aurora Bridge.
These included some of the largest wrongful death and orthopedic injury verdicts in Washington state history. And for many plaintiffs who sustained minor physical injury, the jury awarded more than $500,000, recognizing the PTSD, survivor's guilt, and other emotional trauma that they experienced.